Welcome to this week's Devil in Detail podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson, and I'm here talking all things. So for Devils joining me the show this week, as ever, we got Paul Parkin. How's your week been, mate, after that magnificent win against Warrington?
Yeah. Well, every week's a good week when you win, especially against Warrington. What a game! I know we'll talk about it, but wow. I know the Rugby Union World Cup's just started, and anybody who watches that and then watches a game of rugby league like we watched, there's no comparison, is it? It was a great day. I mean, it was good. Everything seemed to sort of fall into place a little bit the other day, so that was nice. It's a quite a big week for me in many ways in terms of. Sure, everyone wants to know an update. I'm going to have my eye done on Friday, get my surgery, so hopefully in a week or two I'll be able to see properly again. That'll be nice. So we're building up to that. So that's been quite a big week, really. But yeah, it's that because it could have been a bit of a depressing week if we'd have lost the other day, knowing we were probably out of the playoffs and I've got surgery looming and everything else. It's actually brightened up my week totally. So yeah, I've had a good week. It's been nice. It's flying by though, and it'll soon be game day.
Yeah. And wish you all the best with that, Parky. Obviously, we know the trials and tribulations of them eyes of yours. Hopefully, like you say, you'll get it fixed, and then you can sort of get a better standard of life.
Yeah, and it's just watching the match sometimes as well, trying to watch through one eye, and you're trying to catch everything that's going on at the same time. And this year with sort of the sun in your eye or something like that as well at times, it's been a nightmare. But no, I'm not. I've done all right. I've done okay. We're nearly at the end of it now, and it's come at the end of the season. Best time to have surgery, really, isn't it? The season tails off. Hopefully, I'll be able to see some playoff games. Fingers crossed, depending on how things go. But it's a big thing. I've waited a while for it, so I think the whole COVID thing upset everything going on, and it just delayed it all. But get this cleared up, and hopefully 2020 Vision can start refereeing. Because to be honest, the game definitely needs referees because the one we've got at the moment, not great.
No, I think you might do a better job with one. It's only two.
It's great when I shout, "Are you blind, ref?" and it's me that's blind. It's a bit weird.
I've had a bit of a mad week. My son did his first swimming gala on Saturday, Manchester Aquatics Centre. Finished second in the 100 metres butterfly and fourth in the 100 metres breaststroke. I know, butterfly. The hardest stroke you can do, and he's like a dolphin through the water, and I'm like, wow. So and to be fair, because they're all like in the same sort of category of ability.
Yeah.
So the butterfly one, he was against like a 20-year-old kid as well who was diving in. So when he dived in, he had sort of 3 yards on Rory. So I think if we'd all started level on the side, he'd have run him close.
That's brilliant. So we've got a future Olympian.
Yeah. I'll be carrying his bag. Okay, I'll be carrying his bag through around Beijing or whatever it will be. The next one, 10 years time.
Brilliant. That's excellent. That's really good to hear. I like that.
Yeah. So that was proud of it. Like I say, for all of everything he has to go through in his life, swimming's his thing. He loves his swimming. So yeah, it's great that he's finally getting medals for it and stuff like that. Couldn't believe it. I remember when I swam for Scouts about maybe 30 years ago now, and I was involved in a gala, and I finished third in breaststroke, but I got disqualified because I didn't touch the end with two hands. I was devastated.
Yeah, that's a schoolboy mistake, that one. And you were a schoolboy, so we'll let you know.
I was stretching, when you see him, I was like on the corner of my eye, and I thought it's now or never, and I just stretched one hand, and waved it off. And I was like, couldn't believe it. So every time I kept saying to him before we started, make sure you touch with two hands. Make sure you touch with two hands. That was the last thing I said to him, so he didn't, follow his dad's example 30 years on. So
he's doing better than me. I swim like a brick, so as soon as I go in, I seem to hit the bottom and can't get out. I don't know why. But that's good. Yeah, no, swimming is very good for you, isn't it? It's good for your health. So that's brilliant for him. I'm delighted, really. I am.
Yeah, my brother-in-law John, he can't float.
No, I can't. That's exactly it. I don't float. I think And considering there's not an awful lot of me, it's a bit bizarre.
Yeah. So yeah, it's swimming's great. I really enjoy it when I can do it. So
Yeah.
it's great seeing him, succeed at such a I say butterfly. It's a mad stroke butterfly, innit? You know what I mean? But that's his favourite one. So he's succeeded. That's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, he'll have shoulders like a bodybuilder soon.
Yeah, like a triangle. So lots to go on this week. We're going to look back at the Warrington win, ladies' defeat of Featherstone, all the big news coming out of the club this week. We've got Whiteside's World Rugby League, and then we're going to preview the game this week, the big game against Hulkington Rovers, the winner takes all playoff bash, Paul.
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? It's going to be a huge game. It's a shame it's away in many ways for us. It makes it that little bit more difficult. But I know we'll get onto it in a bit. But it's but then it's why you're in the game. There's a lot of teams at the moment who have got nothing to play for. So it makes it exciting hopefully till the last week, and let's see what goes on from there. Because I know no matter what happens to us, Warrington have got Saints. I think I'd probably rather be away at Hull KR than away at Saints if I was going to go and try and get something. So it could all go out the last game, and that's what the game's all about, isn't it? And we're part of that. We're making this run for the playoffs interesting because it could be a close shot by now. But so it's looking good.
It's what we need to develop as a club, to be in the mix. It doesn't matter. It does matter if we make it. If we're looking at the grand scheme of things, aren't we? And we're looking from people who are looking in from the outside. But just to, like you say, just to be involved, everyone experiences that. And whatever happens, next season we're going to be better for it. So that's something positive to think about.
Yeah. Well, I said the other day about the fact that we're actually even in the running for it is a miracle. When you look at our squad on paper, how thin it is, lack of body. Some players who stepped up from the Championship. We've got very little money to spend on players. We don't have the best training facility. We don't have the best, the backroom staff's tiny. And yet we're punching well above our weight. And you look at Leeds and Hull, big clubs with big fan bases and big money, who are way behind us in many ways. And that's a mark of how good we are as a club and as a team. And for me, it just marks out Paul Rowley as a top coach, that he can get that little bit more out of these players. I think if you give Paul Rowley the finance that FC and Leeds have got, I think we'd be in the top 2 or 3. So, it just shows, doesn't it? Give the man the tools and let him work with them. But no, I'm. If we finish 7th, even if we finished 8th, if the worst happened now, I'd still be. I wouldn't be happy at the fact we missed out, but I'd still know that there's enough there for my club that we are still going in the right direction. Even though last year we made the playoffs, we've got a great run, and that's what you need. This year we've struggled a little bit. It's been a bit up and down, loss of bodies, a few dubious decisions in a few games that I think have made it more difficult for us. But overall, no matter what happens, I don't know, I'm not reviewing the season yet because it's not over. Who knows? We could go all the way. Still in it, and that's the amazing thing, and that's what that's what I'm mainly proud of. That I can look at fans of other clubs and go, well, this is what my club can do with nothing. You've got all the resource and everything you want, and you can't compete.
Yeah, but I say we've got fire in our bellies, but we also got we're the opportunity club.
Yeah.
That we're, like you say, punching above our weight. The likes of, I think, like you say, the likes of Hull and Leeds are stuck in a kind of a place where they think they are bigger than they are and better than they are, and that's a difficult sort of situation to get yourself out of. You have to hit rock bottom to go back up. Yeah. I think when you're in that cycle. I suppose it's a bit like Castleford now, where like they're struggling towards the bottom, but they've always sort of viewed themselves as a playoff side, and is where they are now and what they're going through at the moment. But I suppose a lot going on with IMG and the ground and stuff. So are they still in the mixer when it comes to what's going on at their club? That's a big question. But I think just for us, we're on upward curve. We've got upward momentum. We've got players who are hungry for success, and they want to make something happen. They want to be able to look back at their career and say, I achieved at Salford, and that's a good thing.
I think you said there about teams hitting rock bottom, and Wakey at the moment, their fans will be down and a bit whatever, and they're not gone yet. They still, a very, very faint chance they could stay up. But I think it'll give them a year at least out of the league to build. Castleford next year will be doing the same as they've done this year, scrambling to get players that might be off Super League quality. Wakefield can build a team now, get confidence, get winning, like Lee did. Lee built a team in the Championship. They were winning games. They've come up. Look how good they've been this year. They've got the Challenge Cup sat in the cabinet. The other one for me, and I mentioned it earlier in the year when I was on their podcast, was OKR. After what happened when we relegated them in 2017, look where they've come from to where they are now. The grounds have improved. The crowds are big. They've got money behind them. They're pretty successful on the park because they had to take that step back and review from top to bottom what was going on at that club. And they're now up there and making Hull FC look silly. You know what I mean? And that's where you've got to go. And we've been there. We've been at the bottom. We've struggled for years. But again, it goes on about, like, you look at what Leeds have got in the background. We've basically got sort of like Ian Blease and Paul Roller, if you like. They're the two that are making. I know Paul King, obviously, I'm not, but in terms of rugby league knowledge and what they're doing, bringing the players in, the right players to fit in a system that we can use, that are going to turn up most weeks, right, with the right attitude. You look at Leeds, what the players they've signed, big names, big players. They're not there. They're not there to fight for your club. They're there, a lot of them, just to get paid and get through it. And that's the difference. And that's where we've been clever. And that's why I say, if we just had a bit more money, can you imagine? Yeah, we'd be unbelievable.
I always think Warrington's a bit like that as well. There's just too many people. I go to Warrington behind the scenes. There's like boxes full of like waiters and all that, and you think, how much connection do you have with this club? Are you just picking a wage up? Like what's the deal? And I think, like you say, with us, everybody has a job. Everyone cares about the job and sort of gives their all towards it. They can't have half a day where they think, well, I'll just go through today, because everyone relies on everyone else to do the maximum for the engine to roll. And that's the difference in it, I think, with us and many other clubs. Like you say, we work hard. There's not many of us, but they do work the fingers to the bones and get the results.
Yeah, I think Warrington's probably the prime example when you look at it. The vast amounts of money they've spent over 20, 30 years, realistically, even going back pre-Super League, they were bringing in world stars and not really getting anywhere. What is it, 60 odd years since they won a league? I mean, that's crazy for a club like that. They get decent crowds. And again, the other day, they're competing with us to be in the playoffs at that level. You know what I mean? That's the difference in effort. And I think if they'd have had what we've got, they'd have been Super League champions a long time ago. It's what this club means to people and the people who work for it. It's not, like you say, it's not just a job. It's a passion for them. Right the way down through the coaching staff, they love what they're doing. They've got this bond together, and it obviously filters through to the players. And then this season, we've seen with the fans, bringing in £360,000. That's what we are, and we know sometimes it's us against the world. I think that helps us, and I think it helps Paul Rowley get that bond with these players. So in many ways, like I say, no matter what happens now to the end of the season, after everything we've been through this year, we've lost players left, right, and centre, and we've got 23 players possibly in the squad. Some have got 30 odd. We haven't got an academy to rely on. The reserves are only just sort of fledgling players. In the next few years, I think it could all change massively with all this hard work that's going in now. So yeah. I'll be proud at the end of the year, no matter what.
Yeah, something to look forward to, obviously. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Warrington win. So Salford Devils were victorious in Golden Point. Sam Stone winning try secures the victory and keeps our playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, what a game. I mean, actually, I enjoyed the game. I know there was a few errors and things, but with the nerves and everything else going on, it was tense, and it was, but it's everything that rugby league should be. Top level rugby league, really, for me. There was passion in there. There was a few little niggles and things like that, but overall, the game itself, the atmosphere of the day. I mean, I've got to give Warrington fans credit. They created a great atmosphere. It was probably the best atmosphere we've had this year at the AJ Bell, or whatever it's called now. The Gus Risman Stadium, I should say. And I think having all four stands open helped, because there was noise coming from the east stand as well. I mean, there wasn't loads in there, but you could still hear them. And he sort of went into all the stands and went round the ground. It was brilliant. It was a great atmosphere. But the game itself, how would you win a game? That's the way, isn't it? We've done it a few times. Let's be honest. We've been unfortunate every now and then. But you think back to the £1 million game, and you think back to the Challenge Cup game against, was it Catalan, when we beat them with Dan Sargent and scored again a try in Golden Point. We know how to do it, but I think they're trying to kill me or turn me back to boozing because that on I mean, the excitement, it got you going. You got that rush that I've not had for a while. I've sat through games recently, and I know I've been annoyed by, I say, decisions that were made, or we've overplayed and maybe not put our best foot forward. But the other day, it had everything, and both teams really went for it because knowing what was on the game. Warrington, if they win, it closes the door on us. The top six are done, basically. We win, we drag them back a little bit, and we give ourselves a fighting chance. So, yeah, an unbelievable game, great atmosphere. The weather played ball for a change. The only blot on my day was the public transport, but the club don't own that, so I can't have a go at them.
Yeah, it was a moment. I mean, when you follow this club, you get moments, don't you? Whether it's once a season or once every couple of seasons, where you think, this is why I go. And if you can take the last 10 minutes of that game with all the drama and now what was hanging on it, and you could bottle that, you'd be a millionaire, wouldn't you? And we went through the Minster agony to ecstasy, and it was everything in between. And that is why, it was on Channel 4 as well, which was fantastic. So it's beamed across, like the nation, and everyone can see sort of that happen. It's only going to be a positive thing sort of going forward. But yeah, I've still got goosebumps thinking about it now. And sort of a tremendous moment that you're going to live with you for a long, long time.
I think what I will say is I think we were the better team. We looked fitter for some reason. We looked, the last 10 minutes of both halves, we looked like we had more in the tank. If it had gone on longer, we'd have probably won the game anyway. But it did. I mean, you say that, and this is the thing about being a Salford fan. Warrington, when it got back to 20-all, I really think they had much of a chance. I don't think they were actually in it. We hit the post with a drop goal. We had that under the post where Brad Singleton has a brain explosion.
We'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah, but we had that. Oh, don't believe what you've done. You've cost us the game. And then you have this drop goal. It's the post, and you go, oh no, that's our chance. That's the only chance you're going to get. And then what happens? And you're like, it puts you through the ringer. But that is exactly what it's about, and it means that much to us. And I don't think, and I might be talking through my hat, but I don't think 80% of other clubs' fans understand that. I don't think they get what we get out of it. When we're the little guys who have to fight all the time, and when we have them moments, like you say, every year we have them, whether it be the £1 million game, whether it be Lee Mossop's try at the JJB a few years ago, or wherever it's called, things like them, little things that just make you go, oh yeah, that's it. That's why I'm going to drag my carcass out next February and go again. So overall, what a game. And like I say, the Channel 4 viewers must have been, the neutrals out there must have been delighted to watch that. It's a great advert. And like I say, in the middle of the Rugby Union World Cup, it just puts a marker down that we're still here.
Yeah. Fantastic game. Just quickly run through it. A great tribute to David Watkins before the game. Obviously, recently passed away, and obviously the club doing that, with the fans, showing what it meant to everybody.
Yeah, and it's nice to see his family were there as well to witness it. We've not really had a chance. I wasn't on last week, and I didn't get a chance to talk about Di and what he meant to this club. You ask anybody in Salford to name a former Salford player, I reckon 90% of them would say David Watkins. Every taxi driver in Salford tells you about David Watkins. You know what I mean? Every pub you go in, they go, oh, you're a Salford fan. I used to go and watch David Watkins. We used to have Best, Law, Charlton turning up at the Willows to watch David Watkins. This man, he sort of supersedes the club and rugby league in general, and rugby union for what he did in that. And it was just great to see, the respect he got, from the Warrington fans as well. And rugby league in general over the last week of Maundy's loss, in every sort of journalist worth of salt has mentioned it, and ex-players and so on. So, I mean, it happened. I remember when Gus Risman passed away, and we were at the Willows, and there was a minute's silence, and that stuck with me forever. That because that silence was something that I don't think I'd ever sort of felt before.
Mm.
It was literally just not even pin drop. It was like you'd gone deaf. It was that incredible. And that's exactly the same as what Di, that effect. I know we had an applause for Di, but it's that same effect of every now and then a person will come to a club and mean the world to it and will be that club. And David Watkins was that.
Yeah, obviously a fitting tribute. Match kicked off. Warrington scored first. Error from Salford. Nicholson goes over 6-0, but then Salford hit back. Try from Ben Helliwell. Lovely side step for him. Cuts through the line. 6 apiece.
Great line. I will say about, Joey's had I don't know, we'll mention him again towards the end, but he's had an up and down season. He's made a few errors. I don't know. I watched it the other day again. I don't know, but I'm going to watch it just to see. Did the sun have an effect on him when it went in the air? Did he lose the ball? Because he seemed to be out of position when it came to, and that wouldn't normally be him. I know he may drop the ball if he gets it, but he's usually in the right spot, and he just seemed to be off the mark a little bit. And I don't know whether he's lost it in the air. It's a good kick, to be fair, well chased, and it's an error, and that happens. But we needed to bounce back. And it was a well-worked try, and Helliwell running onto that ball. What a line. What a brilliant line that is. He's been, I thought he was I thought he had an excellent game again. He's been a really astute signing. But it was a lovely, like you say, a lovely little sort of swerve through the gap, left people for dead, and yeah, we're back in the game.
Yeah. So we're in the arm wrestle. King V comes up with a big shot. Ball's lost by Warrington. Ackers and Chris Atkin combine to send Brody Croft over in the corner, and Salford lead 12-6.
Yeah, again, you mentioned King there. He did it last week, the other week against Waker. Another big, another player who had a tremendous game, King Vuniawa. I thought he was brilliant. He's really stepped up this second half of the season. Really taken his role. I know he's signed a new deal, which makes him. He seemed happy. I don't think he got that love at Leeds that he's ever had at Salford, and he's built into it. And he struggled at times a little bit, but now I think he's really in his straps. And again, he's running, he's tackling, he's fierce. He's actually scary. It's a shame we can't have him on the pitch for 80 minutes because we do lose something when he goes off. But he was excellent. And then you've got that quick thinking. You're going to get it from Andy Ackers and Chris Atkin. I don't know how many superlatives we can say about him. Is there anything he can't do? But he spots it, he keeps the ball alive, and then Brody has, all good sort of half-backs, supporting half-backs would be his own hand to just jot it down. And I think he was a little bit happy with it, wasn't he, when he scored? Yeah. He looked it.
Yeah, great try. Like you said, King V, sensational. If I'm Paul Rowley, I'm saying to King V, I want that every week now. You show me you can do it. You bullied Warrington. Every set you were involved in, you were putting shots in left, right, and centre, causing errors. Do it again next week. Do it again the week after. You've got it in you to do it, and I'm seeing it now. So there's no excuses now. But he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Hats off to him. Fantastic performance. So Salford go in at half time, leading 12-6. Warrington score next. Kick to the corner. Error. They dive on it 12-0.
Yeah, very Kencio-like. Very unlike him. He's usually safe as ours. He's under a high bar. He jumped. He didn't need to jump to catch it. The pressure wasn't on him at that point, and he leapt and made the catch more difficult. And he didn't need to do that. Now, I think it's a tactic by wingers. If you're in the air and the winger touches you, it's a penalty. So you get yourself in the air and try and catch the ball just to force a penalty and get us kicked out of that area. It's a smart move if it works, but you've got to catch the ball first. And I think he leapt and he didn't need to. If he'd stayed on the ground, he'd have caught that. But he might have got hit and taken in goal. You don't know. But either way, it's another error, and that's the only way Warrington were going to score most of the time, because we were going to make, the errors. But it's unfortunate. I mean, we know what Kenny Seo's all about. He one error in God knows how many games, it cost us a try. But that's the life of a winger or a fullback, in that way that, like a sort of goalkeeper in football. You make a mistake, everybody knows. Other players can make mistakes all the time and get away with it. But I mean, didn't let him affect him. He still had a great game, Kenny. But just another error to let Warrington in.
Yeah. So Warrington kick a goal to make it 14-12, and then Salford scored again. Brodie Croft. Funny story. When I was watching, for me, Brodie Croft went the wrong way, and he kicks it, and me and this guy sat behind me both shout "no" at the same time as he gets in it when he kicks it, and it rebounds to him, and we all know what happens next. He picks the ball up and then goes over by the post. So it was like "no, yes" moment, which was fantastic. But that's what Brodie Croft's all about. He's able to see the moving pitches in front of him, and he goes over for his second.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously get a bit of luck off that with the bounce. It can go anywhere, can it, when it's hit somebody? But I think at that point in the game as well, I think we were really starting to put our foot on the throat a little bit. I think they were going to buckle at some point. It was just how we took advantage of it, because in recent weeks we've wasted quite a bit of decent sort of ball position and that sort of thing. But no, I mean, like you say, Brodie spots it. He doesn't stand still when he kicks it. He's following the ball. He sees where the ball goes. Nobody else reacts as quick as him. Picks the ball up, goes in, and again, that grin, that sort of, I don't even know if it's a grin. It was like like anger coming out of him.
Yeah.
But I've got to mention Brodie. I thought he was unbelievable the other day. He was involved in everything, and what I love about him is how brave he is.
Yeah,
he takes a tackle and he makes a tackle. He won't shirk any of the work. But the other day he had that step back, that little, he was causing Warrington a lot of problems. And you're going up against big forwards. That's where you need Brodie Croft to do that. But I will say that he was playing behind a pack that was making meters the other day, and that makes a difference for him. If he can play behind that platform, he can be devastating. So two tries, and I know he got the man of the match off the viewing public or whatever, off Channel 4 or whoever gave it out, and probably rightly so.
Yeah. So we're in front at that point. Nerves start to jangle a bit. Unfortunately, Warrington score next through George Williams. Good hands from them. Desperate defence for Salford, but Williams, unfortunately, managed to slide over. There was talk about it being a possible double movement, but for me, I think he kept his ball carrying quite straight. So fair try for me.
Yeah, and I think it was all in one movement anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think I tried to slow it down and watch it and stuff. And you could pick at anything. If the video ref's not there, they don't go to the screen. It's a try anyway. So I know next year that'll be different, but I think it was a fair try. I was a bit disappointed they scored under the post like that. Seems a bit soft. I don't think we defended the whole set very well at that point. We didn't switched off, but I think it was just, I don't know. It looked like chaos going on a bit in the defence, and we didn't get it right. And I mean, it's a lovely offload to get Williams over, that little quick sort of flip pass. But that's when at that point you go, typical, here we go. They scored under the post. They're going to take the lead, and they're going to come back and they've got momentum now. But I know we held them off in the end. But it was a little bit disappointed with that, to be honest. But again, I've got to say, Williams, like you said about Brodie Croft, decent halfbacks are in the right place, aren't they? They know where to be, and that's what happened. Yeah.
So we dug in, weathered the storm. We then went to Warrington in the last sort of 5 minutes of that period. Tested them. Penalty from Sneed ties it up at 20 piece.
Yeah, before that they'd got a penalty, hadn't they? And booted it over. Rashford from about 40 yards or something. It was unbelievable. It just sailed straight through. I was amazed. Thought they were going for it. I thought they've let us off the hook.
Yeah.
Because they could have kept the pressure on. They just scored. They were building a bit, and then they took the two, which I thought was negative, and it worked in our favour. But yeah, then we got the other end, and rightly we get a penalty, and I think everybody in the ground just said two straight away.
Yeah.
I think it was like the Sneed chant. It was two.
Yeah.
Everyone's got the fingers in the air too, and he's not going to miss, is he? I mean, let's be honest. Probably misses 1 in 10, does he, or something? So it's all square, and that's when that's when the nerves kick in.
Yeah, big moments in the game. Thulis, the Warrington winger, weaving run. Salford's defence is in scramble. Ryan Brierley catches him, holds him down, and the referee penalises Thulis, for a knock on. And I thought, we talk about referees, we talk about not getting the rub of the green a lot, but for me, he held on too long there, and we were so lucky that the referee gave it as a knock on, because from where he is there, we're in the mincer.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. When I watched it back, I couldn't believe how blatant it was.
Yeah,
that's against us. I'm going mad. He's held him down. He's trying to play his ball. The only thing I will say is, it is your responsibility to get to your feet and play the ball. That's what the referee's saying, but he's got it wrong, because we've held him down. We've held on too long. Anywhere else on the pitch, that's a set of 6, you know. So, yeah, a little bit. We were probably a little bit fortunate there. And in the first half, Thulis, who just put his foot into the in goal, going in the corner. I mean, right on the stroke of half time. That was. We're talking millimeters, and if he has white boots on, I don't. There's no TV ref there. That's a try. So a little bit fortunate. We need you need a bit of luck every now and then. We haven't had much in recent months, so they went our way. But yeah, like you say, big moments.
Yeah. So agony to ecstasy, get the penalty. We get up the field. Brad Singleton. We're all stacked up, ready for the drop goal. Everyone's in position, and then we concede a penalty. And if I had a bucket next to me, I'd have been sick in it. That's how I felt.
Yeah, look, I'm not defending what Brad did at all. There's 2 points to me thing here. One, I thought it was fantastic again for the other 79 point something minutes of that game. He was excellent. And I think he's been excellent since we signed him. And considering I was one of them that wasn't keen on him, I'm happy to eat my words. I think he's been brilliant. Just as he goes into that tackle, there is a swinging arm.
Yeah.
Right? And Danny Addy, you see it when you watch it back, Danny Addy points out to the ref. Brad Singleton has taken that badly.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. What he did, I can't defend. That's stupid. Absolutely stupid. But that's pressure. That's what pressure does to people. And the very best don't do that. The very best don't push somebody over. Yes, Duffy makes a little bit more of it than there actually is. I thought he was Ronaldo for a minute, the way he went over. But I'm not defending him. It's a stupid thing to do. And it could have cost us the game. But then you have to look at his contribution for the last play of the game.
Yeah.
So
I think, like you say, you could see it. Duffy hits him on the back of the head, and you could just see the red mist come down. And he hits him again as he gets up.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Duffy's not stood upright. So he just has to touch him, and he buys it. The referee buys the penalty, doesn't he? And the look on Singleton's face is like, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
And he turns round with his head in his hands, and everybody just sort of turns round, turns his back to him and walks off, thinking, I'm not going to tell him what he's done there wrong. You know what I mean? You could tell. As Ollie Baxter, he was like 40 yards away from him going, what's that about? So, yeah, it was a big decision. But, yeah, it's playoff rugby, and it's about advantage. And, you know, he got sold there, up line and sinker. But like you said, his contribution to the try, which we'll come on to shortly, you know, Sam Stone, I don't think that happens if he isn't penalised there.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And nobody needs to tell Brad Singleton what he did. Nobody needs to tell him that was stupid. He knew from that very second he touched him, he went, what am I doing? He put his hands on his head. And we all saw it, and we all thought, you know, what an idiot. But that's, like I say, it's pressure, big game. It's easy for us in the stand to go, oh, you idiot, what have you done that for? You don't know if you're in that position, you're going to do the same thing. You know, I mean, I see people driving cars every day getting angry about the lights changing or somebody walking out in front of them. You know what I mean? It's moments where you get the red mist. It's just stupidness. And that's what's happened. And like I say, I'm not going to defend him for it, but it's happened. There was nothing else he could do. Unfortunately, it happened under their post and not under ours.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah. So time ticks down. Sneed gets caught with the ball. Rowley tries an attempted drop goal from like 50 yards out, skews it. We go into extra time. Parker. It was weird because Stephen Ratchford wins the toss and then decides to attack the Warrington end. And I was like, when I look back, I think, why do you do that? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I see. The thing is, I think we've got it right. Anyway, I know we were in the £1 million game. We didn't do it this way, but I think I would rather kick to them and put the pressure on like we did to force the error. Make them kick it deep and make them come out of their half.
Yeah.
If you get the error in their half, you've got the ball in their half.
Yeah.
I don't understand this thing of saying we'll receive the kickoff. Why would you want to do? Why would you want to start your set on your own try line in Golden Point?
Yeah.
It seems a bit crazy. And like say, facing I don't know whether there was a breeze out there and he thought if he gets behind us or the sun might be in one of the players' eyes. If he's going that way, we might get it. I don't know. I thought it was a strange decision. And as soon as I knew we were kicking off, I went, right, as soon as we kick this, chase this like your life depends on it and smash him. And that's what we did. And we forced it. And, the result is a result.
Yeah. King V comes up with a shot. Warrington spill the ball. We kind of get in position and Mark Sneed, who is a tremendous drop goal specialist, I think they call it a clutch kick where there's very little backlift. As I thought, we're going to wait here, we're going to get nearer and we're going to get set up. But no, it was quite early in the set, wasn't it, really, as well? Clutch kick, and it's sailed, and I'm just sort of slightly to the sort of the right hand side of it. And I think when you watch your drop goals, there's always certain points in the elevation where you think, that's over. Because you watch, if you're obviously watching your rugby league life, you see a lot of drop goals and you always think, that's over or it's not over. And for me, it got to halfway and I thought, that's over that. And then for it to come back off the post, I was like, my head exploded because I thought, how's that happened? And it was drama. It was what it's all about, following Salford and rugby league. It was a brilliant moment, but it wasn't because really we want it sailing over. But for the TV at home and for our fan entertainment purposes, it was unreal.
Yeah, well, I jumped out of my seat. I thought it was over.
Yeah,
and then someone's just behind me said he's hit the post.
The post.
And I was still looking at it, going, "What?
Yeah,
it's over, surely." And then I see the Warrington player's got the ball in his hands, and I'm going, "Oh no, how's that?" And that was that moment where I went, "That's our chance gone. That is it." That was that moment where you win the game.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect to get another chance, I'll be honest.
Right. But the positive thing about that was we hit the post, but nobody's head fell off.
No.
Everybody defended that set. Everyone was focused. No one got caught offside. Yeah. No one was sort of stealing sort of meters. No one was interfering with a tackler. We just defended that set. Warrington did really well, to be fair. They got us pinned in our sort of 20 when we received it. I think Ryan Brierley received the kick. Right. Yeah. And that was a good thing for me because I thought that could easily go so wrong because obviously the adrenaline, all the fans are going mad. A player could easily just lose his head and take a Warrington head players off and penalty give Warrington 40 yards to play with. So I think, we talk about our indiscipline sometimes, don't we? And I just think that needs highlighting that when the pressure was on and we were under the pump, nobody sort of had a moment and gave away a silly penalty.
Well, how many times have we seen it this year when the crowd start going, woo, in their 20, and straight away the referee penalises you because one of them's gone too soon or one of them's hit somebody high or what? And I expected that. That's exactly what I expected to happen. I thought Warrington will get a penalty here. Yep. They'll boot it up the park. They'll be in drop goal territory. Williams will knock one over or Rashford or whoever, and that'll be it. And we didn't. We held our discipline, and that was the key thing. And what like what I said before, I think we look fitter. It made us sort of mentally better than them. I don't think we made bad decisions after the Singleton thing. We just kept everything professional. And that was, that was great to see at that point. Like I say, you can easily lose your head in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Going on, you want to put the big shot in to try and force the ball to win your team the game. And they didn't do that. They did it as a team. There wasn't an individual out there trying to just win it for everybody. And that was, like I say, sometimes nobody needs a hero like that. And we didn't. We just did it as a team. And I think that showed a little bit more maturity than we've shown in recent times. I know at Wigan, we gave silly penalties away for daft things on the last tackle. Again, leaving your hand in, holding on too long, trying to take somebody's head off or whatever. There was none of that. Keep it clean, make it hard, but keep it clean, and we did.
Yeah. So we retrieve the ball. We go through 4 tackles. We're on our 40. Singleton gets it. And I think it was a fantastic ball on to Tim Laffey on his outside. It drifted brilliantly. Laffey, what we know all about his ability to offload. One of the top Super League offloaders. I think the most offloads in Super League last season. He feeds it to Joe Burgess. Now, I call Joe Burgess the Rolls Royce because when he moves, he's smooth. And he has that X factor when it really matters. And what he did, I think it was just foolish on that side of the field. He's got maybe a yard to work in. And the step and body swerve to get round him, for me, was world class.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's the Singleton pass it set up. I think Warrington were just thinking he's just going to run it in. That's what he does. He's a prop. He might, or if he tries an offload, he'll wait till he's engaged, try and turn his back. Or if he didn't, played it like a decent back rower at that point for some bizarre reason. Then obviously Timmy Laffey gets it out. But yeah, Joey Burgess, he spotted the space. He knew what he had to do to get it, and it is that moment where he kind of froze time, and he made the Warrington player make the mistake of thinking this is what he's going to do, and he just paused and then went, and he sort of swerved round him, and you can see Hewley sort of go on his backside, go, oh, where's he gone? How's he done that? And that, like you say, that's years and years of being a good winger. That's exactly, he knew exactly what he wanted to do, where he wanted to do it. And I know it was mentioned at the end that he was out on his feet for some reason. He wasn't. I don't know whether he's one of these players that's not been well or whatever, but that moment of just thinking of how am I getting around this guy, like good wingers do. I mean, you see, like Sir Martin, if I did it for fun, he'd stand you up, he'd make you make the move, and then he'd go around you, he'd leave you for dead, and that's exactly what he did, Joey Burgess. And he certainly made up for that error in the first couple of minutes with that, because I mean that was genius play.
Yeah. So Burgess streaks away, crowd go mad, Salford players all surge to get in support. I think he's the perfect man in that situation because he just glides. There's no panic. He's not sort of thrusting to get where he needs to go. He gets to the fullback, and I asked Paul this on the Sports Zone on Tuesday night. I'm going to ask you this question, Parker.
I know
a winger or somebody makes a break and goes clear, are you somebody who shouts sort of go, or do you shout give it? When someone makes a break, when Joe Burgess bursts the line there and he's in open spaces, what are you shouting?
Generally, I would always say back yourself as a winger, go. But in that moment, there isn't another decision to be made. When you've got support like that in a moment like that, you give it. I don't care who you are, you give it. Unless you are Martin O'Farrell and you've got pace like an Olympic sprinter. Joe was flagging a little bit at that point. He had a Dufty to go around, who's a rapid fullback, very, very fast. There wasn't a decision to be made. I mean, it was in his mind in a split second.
Yeah.
He's got to decide. But generally, no, I always say to the winger, back yourself. That's why you're out there to do that, to finish tries. But he'd done the work. He didn't need to do anything else. And we were lucky to have Stone inside him in many ways. I mean, it could have been him, or if Wright had been fit, I think he'd have been the kind of player that had been there, supporting back rower who, he's got a yard of pace as well for a biggest lad. So, but yeah, no, it was the right thing. The only thing I will say about Joey was, I think he passed it too early.
Yeah.
And when he passed it, I went, he's going to get caught, and it was because if it had been perhaps anyone a yard slower, they wouldn't have made it. But unfortunately, Stone, he's quite a big lad as well, and he's quite a big rangy sort of back rower. So we were fortunate that he was there. But again, well done to him following the play, because I don't think anybody saw Burgess going around the outside. So the players to back him up, that's a great move.
Yeah, I spoke to Joe Burgess after the game, and he said when I said what went through your head as you went through that, into open spaces, and he says, felt like a baby giraffe running. And I was like, for me, I thought in my head, he looked cool as a cucumber. There was no panic. He did say he thought he might have given it him too soon, but in his words, didn't matter, still scored, which is totally my statement exactly.
Yeah.
The thing about Stone, he just alters his angle.
Yeah.
By 5 degrees, I think, which gives him an extra yard on Duffy, and like you say, momentum takes him over. So the south stand, the whole place goes bananas for 20 seconds, because it's a moment. It keeps our season alive, but also golden point extra time. It's what it's all about. It's what rugby league is. That one moment.
Yeah. I was just about to say about Stone though, and like Shane, right, they're very clever players as well. Understand the game. We two great players. And obviously Carl Watkins as well in the back row would have done the same. But the other thing is, if Duffy had got to him, I think he's a big lad, Stone. He might have just dragged him over with that determination. But that moment, that when he scored the try, when he's finally over the line, that release. I mean, I looked at the rest of the ground. Obviously, I'm in the west stand, and I can't see what's behind me because I'm about 4 rows from the front or 3 rows from the front. So, but I looked across at the east stand and I looked at the south stand, and I don't remember too many times seeing that since we've been at that stadium. That outpouring of passion and just unbridled joy. People's bodies going out. It reminded me of the shed back in the day.
Yeah.
People just bouncing everywhere. And then I know people came onto the pitch. We don't endorse that, by the way. But listen, that's what it does to you. That's what it means. And I heard people saying, "Oh, the club might get fined for that and all that." Don't sort of nonsense. You can't stop that. That's what it's about. That's why people go to sporting events. And that moment, that explosion inside. I'll be honest, I nearly choked up a little bit at the end. And it was just 2 points against Warrington. It wasn't a cup final. It wasn't a semi. It was just a game. But it was that release and everything that came out that, yes, we've done it. It's not them. We've done that. We've had that moment. Because I've seen it at the other end where the opposition fans have had that moment and you go, there's no pain like it. So, yeah, absolutely brilliant. And, you've got to be full of praise for the lads for sticking at it.
Yeah, I call it a headgasm. That's what it was. We had a communal headgasm after that Sam Stone winner. I spoke to Ian Blaze after the match as well, and he was like, I was like, yeah, well, we'll just ignore the letter. I just said to you, just put the letter to one side. Let's just enjoy the moment. But like I say, it was, a magical moment for everyone. And like I say, I think it's sort of this week was 20 years since we left the Willows, and like you said, sort of Parkett before, we had a few good moments there, and we've had some fantastic moments at the Salford City Stadium as well since we left the Willows, and I suppose this is up there, one of them.
Yeah, I don't remember too many as good as that. I really because of the game, because of the way the game went, and how everything that went with it. How you're on the edge of your seat. It's very rare we get golden point games. I mean, we had one this year against Wakefield. It was one of the most dire games I've seen. I know we managed it in the end. I remember we did it against Hull KR a couple of years back. I remember Warrington doing it to us. I think what was the standoff they had who dropped a goal. The Aussie guy, I think it was. Anyway, we've had it done again, but we don't get in that many of them. So to be part of that in that environment and everything it meant on that game, if we'd have been out of the playoffs, not been able to make it, and scored that try, there'd have still been the joy, but it wouldn't have been that same, because we know what that means for us. Keeps our season going now. And that, I mean, that's the joy of sport, isn't it? And that's why we turn up.
Yeah, fantastic moment. I want I want to shout out Danny Addy. Thought he
Yeah,
was tremendous.
absolutely.
Worked hard,
Yeah.
solid in defence. Obviously, we know Parkinson and no Watkins in your engine room. You need people to stand up, and he was tremendous. Sam Stone, say 80 minutes and being on the end of the the golden point try shows what kind of engine he's got. But like as a whole, I think, yeah, fantastic performance. And like you say, we're still alive with another week to go.
Yeah, I've got to mention Danny Addy. He's easily his best game in a Salford shirt.
Yeah.
By a long way. He ran hard when he had the ball, took from stopping. Defensively, he was in everything. He didn't give away silly penalties, which is a fault of his, and has been for a long time. But he terrorised them. He really did. He was brilliant. And the other one is Helliwell.
Yeah.
For a guy who's played most of his career, probably in the Championship or whatever, and he doesn't get a lot of chances. Every time he plays, he doesn't let us down. And I thought some of the stuff he did on Sunday was magnificent. Big King V, Singleton, big minutes from them, because I know Jack Ormonroy didn't do too many minutes again. Andy Dixon didn't get on. Amir Burrow only played 10 minutes or something for a bit. Chris Atkin, we seemed to lose him later on in the game. He went off and never came back on, which is unusual. So these lads are doing massive minutes in a game like that, in conditions like that, because it was a warm day, with everything going on. Like you say, we got into Golden Point and didn't lose their heads. They were tired, but they didn't show it, and that's magnificent. You just got to be full of praise for him. But like you say, Danny had a superb game.
Yeah, I spoke to Paul Rowley after the game. This is what he had to say. Talked about being all sweaty and stressed out, and he talked about how his players weren't at the end of this journey. They think there's more to come.
Well, I mean, that's great, and because this is what we built for. This is what it's all about this time of the year, isn't it? What you do, the hard work you put in pre-season, and then those games when it's freezing in February. This is what it's all about now. This end of the season, and if we can keep players on the park long enough, we've still got a great chance. We've got a lot of work to do. Let's be honest. We've got two teams there that need to win. Bulcar away is always awful, always a tough place. And then you've got Catlan, who, still want to win the league league leadership, or at least finish in the top two. Make whatever it's going to be for them. Everyone's got a lot to play for, and we're lucky in that way that we haven't got, Wakefield and Cass, or Hull or whatever. Someone who's got, you can put the queue on the rack and not bother. But then it might bring the best out. We've got that competition. We've got to face up. No one's going to give us anything. So it's good to hear. I think the players are. I think that on Sunday proved it. It's all still there. The passion's there. They want this. They know how hard they've worked behind the scenes. They know how difficult it is day to day for a club like us, and how difficult it is for them. And they deserve it. So fingers crossed, Paul Rowley's right, and he can get them extra couple of performances out of them.
Yeah, talks about the players' work rate, talks about our opposition's GPS going up when we play them, and like you say, they work hard, they run through walls for each other, and it's a sign of a good side that you will run and tackle and do everything until it's over.
Yeah, I think the way we play as well. I know we've said it all year about we play this expansive rugby at times, and I think later in games it does have an effect, because teams are chasing you. If you've had enough ball, that's been our problem, that we haven't had enough ball at times through either penalties of our own or dropping it or whatever. We can control the football for long enough. We'll tire teams out. When it gets late in the games, your big forwards are knackered. I noticed the other day with Gil Dudson and Cassiano and people like that. They didn't want to get involved after a bit, because we'd run them ragged, and our forwards being pretty lean as they are anyway. We don't have a massive pack. We don't have big sort of boppers running about all over the place, which possibly we might need. But I think that helps us. I think in that heat as well, we just tire teams out, and that's what we've got to do. And that's what we've just got to keep their energy levels up now for the next couple of weeks.
Yep. Look at the stats. Brad Singleton, 23 tackles. Andy Ackers, 26 tackles. King B, 21 tackles. Sam Stone, 30 tackles. Chris Atkin, 32 tackles. Danny Addy, 36 tackles. Ben Helliwell, 40 tackles.
Wow. Wow. I mean, Chris Atkin there surprised me. That is a lot, considering, come on as a sub and went off. That's a lot of work. Danny Addy, as we've already mentioned, and Ben Halliwell, like I say, he just does that. He does the dirty stuff that players don't like doing, but he don't complain. He just gets on with it. And you need players who do them. It's all right being glitzy and glamorous and, getting all the plaudits when you scored the winning try or whatever, but it's them lads that have put that work in for the rest of the game. And Ben Halliwell for me was again, he was tremendous the other day, and that just shows 40 tackles in that heat, in that intensity of a game is magnificent.
Yeah. Top meter makers: Ken Seo 172, Joe Burgess 138, Brodie Croft 143, Bad Singleton 91, King V 94, Ben Halliwell 89.
Yeah, again, impressive. I know obviously the backs again are getting them, but to see Brodie Croft getting that many meters as a stand-up, a man he's obviously marked constantly. That's brilliant. Great stats again, and the forwards getting up there to nearly three figures. And there wasn't a lot to be given in that game. A lot of big defense, both sides. So again, really impressive. King V. Every time he got the ball, I think he made meters. Brilliant.
Yeah. Average gains: Ken Seo 9, Joe Burgess 10, King V 9, Andy Ackers 8, Ben Halliwell 7.
King V again. Big meters. He'll tire you out playing like that. And if he had somebody with him, I know Brad Singleton's there. I know we'll get Ollie back this week, but we've got to lose another one. But if we just have a fit Alex Gerrard or even Jack Omeroy, perhaps to what he was at the back end of last season, somebody to carry that load a little bit more, I think the punch we'd have is brilliant. And I think that's what we need to hopefully look for in the pre-season. Somebody to, if you've got King V and Brad Singleton doing big minutes like that and big meters, a couple more coming off the bench will be a very dangerous side.
Yeah. Big thanks for your 3-word match reports and man of the matches. Chairman Bob, Salford roller coaster. His man of the match was Danny Addy. You said heart attack stuff. King and Halliwell and Addy. Are you having one? You can't have 3.
No, I was giving it. I was just mentioning the other 2.
Okay.
Just the special mentions.
Yeah, because you're organising the stats doesn't mean you can fiddle results.
No. Well, I'll be honest. No matter what happens, I don't think Danny Addy's winning Player of the Year. So if he gets a couple of points, it won't make a difference.
Yeah. David Walling, 2 vital points. Croft. Trev, the Red Devil, can't speak. Croft. David Deakin, never in doubt. Brodie Croft. KDL, never give up. Croft. Stuart Smart, another huge win. Brodie Croft, another shout out for Danny Addy. James Hodgson, still in the race. Croft. And Lancashire, Burgess runs hot. Brodie Croft. Chris Nash in cardiac ward. Brodie. A lot of heart related 3-word match reports. I can't quite figure out why. Andy Smith, need a defib. Addy. Colin Wilson, man, bloody tastic. Natalie Taylor, we deserved it. Croft. Richard Martin, 84-minute performance. Croft. Paul Whiteside's mate, Roy Ellaby, heart still going. King V. Anita, past the Gaveston heartburn Reds. Always makes it tickle. Always makes me chuckle at heartburn Reds. Croft, OSF, all important win. Croft. Dave H, straightforward win with a twitchy face. Brodie Croft. Stephen Doyle, keep it going. Ackers. Gary Richardson, Andy Beast Mode. Matthew Stevenson, playoffs on. King. Stephen Mozzer, better from Addy. Brodie Croft. He's close to the most. King. So yeah, fantastic performance. A lot of like you say, emotional fans. But like you say, this is what we come for. This is what it is. This is playoff rugby league, and we want to be involved in this. So let's just drink it in, park in, get ready for the next dose on Saturday.
Yeah, and I just got to mention, obviously, without having Watkins and who I mention him every week. I absolutely love the guy. He's just got everything to offer. His work rate is tremendous. Taking that out of the team, and Ollie Partington, who again has been brilliant this year. Taking them 2 out of the team and making the rest of the guys, they all stood up. And that just shows the mark of this team. And if you put them 2 in, I know we're going to lose Brad this week, but if you could have put them 2 in, I think we'd have been comfortable. I really do. I don't think we'd have had this golden point thing going on. I think we'd have been better than them, stronger than them. we looked a better team, I thought. And like I say, Andy Dixon was on the bench and didn't come on. So you're down a sub. Amir Borough, putting Amir Borough and Chris Atkin on the bench, basically got two kind of the same. No, Amir Borough's got a lot to learn when it comes to playing like Chris Atkin, but you put the other two back in that team, it's a different lineup altogether. And so I just wanted to say that without them two in the team, what a massive effort everybody else had to put in.
Yeah, talking about Amir Borough, there's no fear in him. He just tackles everyone. You think always look at all the different sizes and shapes of rugby league players. He's quite small, but he don't back down from anyone. Just throws himself into every tackle. Obviously still young, still developing, but yeah, he's like a Rottweiler.
He's like Scrappy Doo.
Yeah.
Like he reminds me of Danny Walker on the other side for Warrington. He's got that about him. He don't care who you are. He'll take you on. I mean, he's about 5'2", but he's not scared. And I suppose there's no point being like that. But I'm glad Amir's got a bit of time, bit of game time again. It's going to be difficult because Andy Ackers is superb. You're not going to replace him. And you got Chris Atkin who can back up as the next hooker. It's going to be tough for Amir to get enough game time. But I was delighted to see him come on. He did his job and came off in tough circumstances.
Yep. So let's move on to the ladies. They were in action this weekend. They went down to defeat to Featherstone, 28 points to 18. Featherstone were confirmed champions, Parker, after the win.
Yeah, I was listening. Well, half time at the ground, and they mentioned that Fev were 20 odd nil up or something, and I thought, oh, this could end up anything. And then when I got home and I saw it was on the BBC website, and I saw the score, and I was like, what? How have we done that? And once again, as we've done week after week recently, we've come back into it later in games. We seem to get stronger as the game goes on. We just need to learn to start games strong, start games big. And I don't know what it is, but I've seen it probably in the last 5 or 6 games that we've done that. We just don't start strong enough. But a great effort away at Fev. Like you said, they've just won the league. We're stepping up to this level. So we can't complain. Losing by 10 points away at the champions on a day like that it's a great effort, and we've got to be full of praise for the girls, what they're achieving still in tough circumstances. But it just proves, doesn't it, that it's there, another year's experience, and we'll get into these games and won't let them get away from us by half time and have to fight back. We'll be in a better place this time next year. Yeah,
pure drama. Barrett needed to win by 7 or more and only won by 2. So that was like a dramatic way to finish the season.
Yeah, I noticed on the league table, absolutely unbelievable, the points difference and how it's worked out. And I know Lee were leading the way for a long time. They looked a really strong team, and then they've dropped down and finished in 3rd. It just shows. I mean, we pushed them not long ago, in a big fight, and who knows, we might be the ones that have drained them, that have made them drop off. I don't know, but a great effort from our girls, and that's an exciting league. But Featherstone now, they've got a step up to that Super League, that big Super, and that's a big challenge. That's a big step, because some of them teams in there are different quality.
Yeah, like I said before, it's going to be a movie, Parker, and Bruce Willis, John Candy, Jimmy Nail, Paul. It's going to happen. We're going to get there. Our 3 tries, 1 from Tasker Curran, 1 from Brogan Evans, 1 from Demi Jones. Demi Jones kicked 3 goals for Chris Bates ladies. They played Lee in the semi-final in 2 weeks' time away from home. They played Lee a couple of weeks ago away and ran them real close. So we're confident we can go there and get a result.
Yeah, I bumped into Laura Bent from the from the ladies team on Saturday at a tournament and talking to her. She couldn't play Sunday because she was working. I noticed Megan Cunliffe didn't make the lineup. I don't know what's happened to Lucy this year. Lucy McKeown.
Yeah.
Magnificent last year, so I don't know what's going on there. But again, it's that there doesn't seem to be continuity at the moment in the team. We keep losing players here and there, and it's been a problem all year. If we could get everybody fit and fighting for that week, we've got a fortnight now to build for that. You just don't know. You don't know. And we've learned, like I say, we've learned so much throughout the season, but it is going to stand us in good stead. And you don't know, like I say, with Lee dropping off, their confidence might not be too high. So it's a big one. It might, I think, I don't know if we'll have a game that week. I don't know how it's going to work yet with playoff rugby if we're in it or whatever. But if not, I'll probably go down to Lee for that. I think that'd be a big game.
Yeah, massive game. Like I say, 2 weeks to prepare for it. It's going to be super exciting. Like I say, playoff rugby league, Super League 2. After last season's success, they've dealt with pressure before. It's obviously a different level playing Super League, but it's a similar process you have to go through in winning them kind of games.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said about same with the men's team. Really, it's building up to these big games. I will say Ian Watson mentioned it years ago when he was with us that the year we made the grand final, the weeks before that, sort of 4 or 5 weeks before them playoffs sort of started, he got us into that mode. He told the players, this is playoff now. This is where it starts. And I remember going away to Leeds at Headingley, and we played it like a playoff game. We beat them. And I think we could have beat them by more in many ways, but we needed to get into an arm wrestle. We needed to know how to win a game when it comes down to a big crowd, big atmosphere and all that. And it worked. Very rare we get to praise Ian Watson these days, isn't it? Yeah, and that's the same mentality that the men's team have got now, and the ladies are going to have as well. That we've been building up as the season's gone on to these moments, and fingers crossed we've learned enough now that we can get over them.
Yeah, so that's a look back at the games, Park. We'll see what's happening in the world of Salford Devils. So we'll start with Brad Singleton, banned for 1 game. We've appealed, lost the appeal, appealed again, lost again. So we will miss the OKR game.
I don't know what to say. I really don't. I've watched the incident back 5 or 6 times. Does he catch the man high? Yes. The referee takes the right course. He gives a penalty. He has a word with the player. That's it. For some reason, the review panel are involved and have decided that is a bannable offence. If that is worth a ban, the game is gone. I'm sorry. That is soft. I mean, last week's from Callum Watkins was unbelievably soft. It's just getting. I can't understand from all the tackles I've seen this year, all the high shots, all the, some of the dirty play I've seen. We're getting punished for things like that. 2 Warrington players did exactly the same thing, and got £250 fines. What? Well, have I lost my mind here? Now, what I think they're saying is that Brad Singleton's had previous. Not with us, he hasn't. With Wigan or Leeds, maybe. So we're getting punished for something he did at a different club, a different season. What? Where does this end then? When does it ever be? So if someone gets banned when they were 19 and now they're 32 and they pick up, they do another tackle. Oh, you've got previous. Well, yeah, I played rugby league for 10, 15 years. Of course I have. And it bugs me that it goes. I mean, I just still don't know what the Singleton one was for. The Partington one, but the Callum Watkins one. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. I know we're getting back this week, but he's not a dirty player. Everyone in rugby league knows that. He's a top pro, and he's not going to do that. He got it wrong, and he was annoyed at himself for getting it wrong. And Chris Kendall, I noticed this when I watched it back, shouted his name twice, and he didn't respond. And I think that's what's done it for him. That the referees took the hump because he's so important. No, that player was annoyed at himself and he's swearing at himself and walking away saying, what are you doing? You just cost your team here. He's the skipper. He knows what he's done. He just won it in a minute. It's the arrogance of it all now. And this review, Singleton, It was a penalty, as good as, and that is it. And it gets a 1-match ban. We appeal it because we know it's wrong. No, we go back and appeal it. What are we that stupid that we think we're just going to keep? The game's gone soft, and the people running it are the ones that need to step away and stop ruining the game. Paul Rowley was right last week. We pay money to see the best players. If there is a misconduct or a blatant problem, yes, you get banned. We're talking about what happened at the grand final with Lance Hire years ago with Flower when he punched him in the face. Yes, you get a lengthy ban for that. This isn't serious foul play. This is an action that's happened in a contact sport, in an impact sport. Just give the penalty and move on. 20 years ago, no one would have batted an eyelid. The game has gone soft, and I think a lot of it is because the RFL now are terrified of getting sued for somebody who may get an head injury. That's all it is. It's the same in most culture, unfortunately, now. But we're going to end up changing the game so it's unrecognisable. I saw it in rugby union the other night where someone got done for an accidental headbutt and gets a ban. What? He's got to do his job. That's his job. I rant over, but yeah, I'm fuming about these suspensions. Funny how they come at this end of the year when we've had one all year, I think.
Yeah.
How odd.
Just have to say the tribunal is independent. They're all there for the good of the game. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, we'll be missed, but like you say, we get Patterson and we get Watkins back this week, which is great going into the big game against OKR. Other news: end of season awards. Tickets still available. 18th September, which is a Monday, 7 p.m. £50 for a ticket, 2-course meal, pork and mash, sticky toffee pudding, vanilla ice cream. Sounds like a good day.
Yeah, I've been to most Player of the Year awards over the years. I won't be at this one, unfortunately, but yeah, I mean, I go, show your appreciation for the players as well. It's a chance to meet them on a night off, if you like. I know we've still got a game to go after it, but it gives you a chance to mingle and go and see them and let them know, because I don't think we get to spend enough time with the players these days like we used to at the Willows. We used to mingle with them after a match or whatever. Didn't always work out right, did it? But it's just a good way, saying thank you for your efforts this year and good luck. We get something out of Saturday night. The atmosphere on that night, on Monday night, will be brilliant, won't it? We'll be buzzing, thinking we've got Catalan this week. We can finish in the top 6. Our season doesn't end, and yeah, and listen to what the club have got to say. Paul King will obviously be making a speech, and probably Paul Rowley and a couple of players. So yeah, and go and show your appreciation for everybody at the club, and especially the players, the men's, women's reserves. Got hopefully the PDRL, the LDRL, the wheelchairs, and everybody who's involved. But those behind the scenes, I know there's awards for unsung heroes and all that, and people you don't know what they do behind the scenes and the hard work that goes in. Because like I said before, we work with very little staff, and a lot of really good people do a lot of really good work. So it's a good chance just to celebrate them. So yeah, if you can go, get there, go and have some scran, a few drinks, and see the players.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
If anyone wants to sort us out a table, we'll still come.
It's over 16s only. Smart casual dress. If you want to sponsor the event, the club will put an advert out for £5,000. And if you want to sponsor a particular award, £300. Contact chris.irwin at salfordrdevils.net. Get tickets, get framed shirts, get pictures from Steve with winners. Yeah, for a business, it puts your name out there. People will see it through social media. People will see it in the room itself. So if you have a business and you think this might be a way of advertising what I do, that'd be an idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's be honest, the money sort of that will go back into the club, back into the team, and hopefully we can invest in the off season. So all the help we can get, and so it's beneficial to everybody. And I'm sure there'll be an auction and raffle and that kind of thing as well. So just get involved, see what you can come on with.
Yeah, Salford Devils Foundation are running their rugby's development program for girls in the local area. Langworthy and Cadizhead are the two areas where they will be. 12th of September, 6 till 7 p.m. Great, obviously, like you say, the trying to sort of build this infrastructure around the ladies team, and it's an opportunity for sort of girls in the area to play the sport and develop, and 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, they might be wearing that Salford shirt.
Well, that's what we want, isn't it? We want it in the the men's team as well as the women's team. We want Salford people playing for us, playing for our club, and that was Ian Bleasy's dream a few years ago, wasn't it? And I think any of the girls at the moment who watch the ladies team and get involved, you can't help but be impressed, not just by what they do on the pitch, it's how they are off the pitch. They're great around the club, aren't they? On a match day and everything else. They're always around, and they're a real sort of shining light, I think. And it's great that we can get more girls involved, certainly playing, because that's what it needs. And I must mention again, I went to watch my wife in the tournament for, it should have been Folly Lane last weekend at Blackpool. Unfortunately, Folly Lane didn't have enough players.
Right.
So they had to play for Lee East. They went and won it anyway, or minus one of the other. They went and won the tournament, which was great. But it's just to say that, it is Masters rugby. So it's of all levels. You can do full contact, you can do TIG, you can do grab, whatever it is, 30 plus. So, it's a great way of staying fit. That's the other thing. But and it was a really, really good day. And this was the actual national Masters tournament. So the men's was going on one side of the thing and the ladies on the other. And it's great to see all these rugby league people of all ages just coming together just because they love rugby league. So if you are a lady of 30 years plus and you're interested, they train at Folly Lane on a Monday night. So if you get in touch with Folly, I'm sure someone will put you in the right numbers. And honestly, we watched it. We went down and watched it. I took me deck chair and a big sandwich box and sat there and watched it. It was really, really good, really entertaining. And a day out in Blackpool, which was, obviously, I don't know if it's an added bonus, actually, I'm not sure about that, but it was, really good. So so the whole thing, getting this ladies' game going, get it all over, this is what we need. And the more you get involved, there'll be people there who might want to come down and play, who don't really watch the game, who then might go, I'll come and watch now. You get part of it, and it is that community thing as well. I've got to say this because obviously I spend a bit of time down at the Roosters at the moment with my niece being down there. I know my nephew's at Folly. It creates this. Amateur rugby is such a wonderful thing for creating a community. Your club and everything. A lot of really good people do a lot of work, and they need support. So no matter who you are, try and get down to an amateur club. But even if you don't want to play, just get involved somehow, or even just go buy a drink at the bar just to, give them a bit of money. But yeah, just wanted to add that in. But yeah, no, the club are doing great stuff with promoting the ladies' game and what they do with the youngsters and everything. And again, I will mention on Sunday they had the homeless. You mentioned it. I mean, that was brilliant, absolutely first class. And I watched David's video on the club's website, and it's heartwarming to know that the club are looking at this. It is for the community. That's what they're trying to do now, and it's hopefully the community can back the club.
Yeah, you might have accidentally become our ladies' chief scout. Now going to all these different festivals and stuff. Chris Bates be on the phone. Parky, who can I pick? Who can I find? What have you seen for 2024?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, there were some really good players. I mean, the girl who got lady of the tournament was from League was absolutely first class. She had a great turn of pace, a step. Really. And like I say, it's because it's all different ages and different abilities, and it's a strange game. You've got to switch between she's got yellow gold shots and she's got black shots. I can tackle her, but I can't. You got to do it all in a split second. I'd just be trying to hit everything and hope for the best. But yeah, it's really good. So just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah. Final one, walking rugby. every Wednesday, Eccles College. Contact john.blackburn@salfordcc.ac.uk. Want to get involved in that? Obviously, we talk about the ladies, talk about the learning disability team, physical disability team. Walking rugby is for obviously people who maybe aren't fit enough anymore to play. The full contact game. We're a club that is a community club, and things like this show what we're all about.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going to try and get to once my eyes sorted and back up. Obviously, there are other things going on that I can't play as an athlete these days. But I quite fancy that walking rugby. Again, it sounds like a bit of fun. And getting my hands on a rugby ball, I was there the other day and sat on the touchline with a ball in my hand thinking, I've missed this. It's just, there's something about it that never leaves you. So, I'm going to try that once my eyes settle down again. I'm going to nip down and give it a crack.
Undefeated as a youth for 7 years. You could be undefeated for 7 years in your advancing years. You never know.
I'll make it that far.
So that's all the news. Now we'll see what's happening in the world of rugby league with Whiteside's World of Rugby League. So that was Whiteside's World of Rugby League pack here. Now it's Player of the Year time. Obviously, we've had great season. Both our ladies and our men's team have had great moments throughout the season. Some great players involved, and it was a tough selection process from us to get our top 5.
It is. I mean, you see, this is the thing. You kind of, as the season goes on, you pick up players. At the start of the year, I think for me, I looked at Ollie Partington and I thought, wow, this guy's great. And then he got injured and he fades away. And it's hard over a whole season to pick out just a few players, and especially the way, like I've said 1,000 times tonight, the way our team is. It is a team. It doesn't work off one component. If they all play together, we're a very, very dangerous outfit. If you have individuals, we're going to go nowhere. And that's what the likes of Leeds and Hull have found, that they have great individuals, but not a team. So, yeah, it was a fairly tough decision. It's hard to leave people out. That's the hard part. You could just keep putting people in, going, but maybe he did this, and I remember him doing that. But yeah, it's been a tough decision.
So we'll go ladies first because we're gentlemen. First nomination we're going to go with is Brogan Evans, Community Lion.
Yeah.
Top tackler in the league, top carrier in the league. This season she moved from hooker to loose forward. Been an absolute revelation. Energetic. We've had her on the podcast. Good talker as well. Fantastic player, Parky. Well deserving of the nomination.
Yeah, definitely. You can't, like you say, she's come on leaps and bounds. And the other thing, you see her socials as well. She's actually quite funny. But yeah,
like dogs.
She's had a good year. I think she's been one of the consistent sort of players, if you like, in terms of being out there every week. Like I said, we've had so many changes this season. I think first 5 or 6 games or whatever, something like that, we didn't field the same team. But I think she was one of those that made it right the way through. And like you say, she got rep honours this year, so got to be in there.
Yeah. Second nomination, Alex Simpson, try scoring centre, great defender, leader on that. I think it's the right hand side of the field. Got that X factor, that go-to player when the chips are down. She finds something for this team, so she's in the mix. Yeah,
very skillful player, and so a game winner as well, or a game breaker at times. Yeah, another good decision, really. It's tough again this year because when you look at the ladies here, and I mentioned again there about having so many different players, and a lot of them had to play in different positions and move around, and it's trying to find that balance and find their best position. And again, I feel a bit harsh that we have to leave people out. I think Alex, again, following on from last year, she's just rightly got to be in there, hasn't she?
Yeah. Third nomination is Sage Bannister, new to the club in 2023. Fullback. She's got that something about her. Wonderful talent. Scores tries. Scored a 90-metre try against, I think it was Featherstone or Cardiff sort of demons, went short side,
Yeah.
raced 90 metres, went under the post to score. 2 tries against Castleford, 2 different types of tries. One sort of stepped through 4 or 5 cast defenders. Another one ran 60 metres through the centre of the field to score. Great defender. I think it was against Lee. Pulled off 2 or 3 try-saving tackles when we were under the pump, and also bombed us all afternoon. Didn't drop one, and then after they gave up, they tried to turn around, managed to sort of catch the ball, beat the first defender, and went down the wing. It was like if Ryan Briley did that, that'd be on a loop. It was a wonderful performance. She's been consistent throughout the season. I think Emerald Hickey said it was her first season playing rugby league, and she's been playing it. And when she said that, I was like, what? Because I thought the moments that she's had, you think she's been playing this for years and years.
Yeah, as soon as you said the name, the one thing that sort of crept into me, the word that came to mind was pace.
Yeah,
because she's got that thing that you can't train it, you can't buy pace. It's not something, and she just got it. And like I say, when she spots a gap, she's gone. And that try you were talking about, I can't remember it was against, was brilliant. That was a bit like, kind of like what Burgess did at the weekend. That moment of making defender make the decision for you and then going. Another great shot. I didn't realise, he just started playing. I must admit.
yeah.
And another thing that's happened with most of this team, even those that were here last year, they might have played less than 2 years of rugby, and that's the development of them is incredible, really is. But Sage, she's got that. Yeah, that thing. I'm trying to think who she reminds me of. If you were looking at the men's game, the way she moves, it's kind of a glide. I don't know, but she seems to just get through a gap that's not there, if you like.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, and then you see her go, and it's like, wow. See you later. You're not catching her.
Yeah, so she's in the mix. Louise Fellingham, captain, fantastic. The player the ladies go to when there's a pressure moment. She gets the ball in her hands and makes the magic happen. Like you say, last season, leading this team from what they achieved. Obviously, moving into Super League, different kind of challenge, but she commands respect from everybody, and she's a fantastic player as well. So she's in the mix for the win too.
I think we've been so fortunate from last year to get her playing for our club. I think she's an absolute. She's one of those. She's like a James Rowley kind of character for me. You can't find a fault with her. There's nothing you couldn't like. There's nothing, But she makes the game look easy. She's got time on the ball. She's just, when she gets it, again, it's that slowing down of everything around her. She sees the picture. She's been great for us, and as an ambassador as well. We couldn't ask for any more from the skipper. And like you say, she's the one that I dare say the players would all say, if you had to keep one player in your team, who would it be? And I think they'd all go for her because, the experience she's brought to the team has been. You can't, again, like with the pace, you can't buy the experience. She knows how to play the game. She knows how to win a game. I think she's been phenomenal. And I don't know what her thoughts are now, because I know after speaking to her last year, she was a bit about carrying on. I hope we can get at least another year out of her. But if she doesn't, we'll have to respect that. But she's probably been, I would say, the key driving force behind what this club has done with the ladies team. So yeah, just has to be in there.
Yeah. Final nomination for the ladies player of the year is Demi Jones. We talked about moving to Super League and how people would adapt, and for me, Demi Jones has took a massive step in her development. Wonderful goal kicker, super rugby league brain, dictates play, real energy in that team. And yeah, I think she's been fantastic this year. Like I say, kicks goals and in positional kicking as well. The real brains behind the operation. So yeah, I think she needs to be in.
Yeah, again, like a bit like what we were saying before about Louise. That she knows the game. She got the experience. From a time, I think it was at Widnes, wasn't it, before she came to us, and she knows how how the game works. She understands the game. And when we've got players who are new and novices to the sport, to try and bring them up to speed, to get them into the game, to get them, playing the game the right way, you need people like her who can pass on this message, who can bring a team together. And yeah, she's got bundles of skill. And yeah, goal kicking alone is very Mark Sneed like, not in a style, but the accuracy of it will win you games. And she's been great, and I can imagine her being brilliant behind the scenes as well. Because, like I say, we've spoke to her on here, and she's barrel the last from chatty and being an Everton fan. She's probably got everything we need.
Yeah. So there's your 5: Brogan Evans, Alex Simpson, Sage Bannister, Louise Fellingham, and Demi Jones. We'll put a poll out, pick your winner, and we'll announce it when the season ends, because like you say, they've got playoffs to come, and hopefully, like you say, they'll be celebrating a promotion, and then one of these ladies will be taking away a trophy too.
Yeah, and once again, like I said about the men's team, it's not about that at the moment, is it? It's not about the promotion and chasing trophies and everything. This step up this year is massive from where we were last year. We were so dominant in games last year. It was, it was a bit of a joke at times, but this year the step up and everything, and we've learned so much, and we're developing as a club, and everybody off the field's learning about how the women's game works. I dare say, the coaches and everybody else. So you just got to be full of praise for them, for what they've achieved. They made the playoffs in the first year in the Super League, if you like. And who knows where it can take you, but no matter what happens from here, we've just got to be proud of what they've achieved.
Yeah. So let's move on to the men. Like you say, real competition as well from in the squad. My first nomination is going to be Ryan Briley. Is he in your 5, Parker? Good.
Undoubtedly in my 5. Undoubtedly. Yeah. I'm happy to say that we signed Ryan Briley a couple of years back, and I wasn't overly keen. And Ryan Briley said in his own in a podcast a couple of weeks ago that he didn't think he was up to the level of where he is, and his best rugby has come in the last 2 years. And the Ryan Briley I'm watching now is possibly as good as any fullback in the league on his day. He offers his defence. He can catch the high ball. He's attacking threat. He's, when we lost 9 levels, I think we all were a bit, oh God, how do you replace 9 levels in the tries? You bring in Ryan Briley. That's what you do. His connection with Paul Rowley, obviously, but this season he has been first class, absolutely brilliant. I don't remember games where he's been poor. I don't remember mistakes that well. Usually, and like I say, with a fullback being like a goalkeeper, they're the ones that get picked up when you make one. I think he's been brilliant, and he has to be on that list, on anybody's list. And I think even people from other teams would say, yeah, Ryan Briley's got to be on there. So yeah, he's been brilliant, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think I can add anything to that. He was on Paul's list as well, which is great. Second nomination, I'm going to go for Mark Sneed.
Right.
Leader, like we talked about with Louise Fellingham, the pressure, the person they go to when the pressure is on. Kicks goals, 90 goals he's kicked so far this season. 90 points, sorry. 200 points in the season. He is our go-to man. So I think he should be in the mix for our player here.
Well, he didn't make my 5. However, he was one of those where I've gone, how do you leave him out? The only thing I will say, there was a few games in the season where he's faded out of the game and not been as Mark Sneed like. But as I've said to most people, I like with Ryan Briley, I think he's played his best rugby league of his career in the last couple of years. I think he's become a proper leader. He a lot of the time in the past, he was that guy you give the ball to smash it 60 yards down the pitch, get us out of here. Now he takes it on. The decisions he makes at the right time, what he brings to the team, like you were saying there about Demi Jones and Louise Fellingham, that the leadership. They look to him. And as a scrum half, we need that. You always need a strong scrum half. So I'd have no problem with Mark being on the list at all. I think he's developed into such a great player, and obviously last season made the England squad for the World Cup. He's carried on that form. I think his form possibly dipped with the team. I think that was the thing. But when Mark Sneed plays well, Salford play well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest sort of accolade I can give him.
So is he in? Now you've got to think about it. Or are we going to wait until see
we'll
trading later?
Get to the end and then we'll make and see where we come up with.
Right. So my third
this is the problem
nomination
where who you leave out. This is the problem.
I'm going to go with Tim Laffey because he's a danger. He's in the centres. He works hard. He's experienced. He makes things happen, and that's the important thing in our team. He is one of our go-to players. Obviously, last season, with the run to the grand final, the World Cup, and all that, we were a bit worried that he might burn himself out. He got injured early, came back super strong, super fit, and now we're seeing the benefit of that time off.
Yeah, I think he started the season well, but that injury knocked him. And when he came back, he didn't look the same Tim Laffey for me. He didn't look as strong, and his offload game wasn't as good. I'm not knocking him. But I think he wasn't the Tim Laffey of last year because of that injury. And I think it knocked him a bit. And I don't think he was fully fit when he came back. I think that's part of the problem. A fully fit Tim Laffey probably gets him most Super League teams. And again, I'm not criticizing. He didn't make my 5, but again, I haven't got a problem with him making it. I'm only judging him off last year. That's the problem. And last year he was just phenomenal, and we haven't quite seen that this year. But again, on Sunday, he gives the ball at the right time to the right player, and we score. That's what he's got to do. The other thing is, I will say in his defence is, as I've said with Brody and Sneedy, and you've got to be playing behind a winning pack, to create space for you, to give you them opportunities. And for much of the season, we haven't had that. But when our pack is on top, that's when you see the room open up, and that's when Tim Laffey becomes a real threat.
Yeah. So we'll put him as a question mark.
Yeah.
For now, I'll let you do the next one.
For me, after Braley was Watkins.
Yes.
Skipper. I just think what hasn't he got and what can't he do? As a rugby league player, as an athlete, as a leader, he's just been everything this season for me. He's in every game. He's doing 20 odd 30 tackles. He's making 70, 80, 90 meters with a ball. He's got an offload. He's got the skills of a centre, but the work rate of a back rower. I just think he's probably one of those ultimate rugby league players. If you could design one, you would design a Callum Watkins. I've got. There aren't enough words for me for what I can say for Cal. People said his career was over before he came to us. Then he got an injury. I think when Richard Marshall was in charge, I think it was. He got a bad injury. He's come back from that, and you wouldn't have known it. You wouldn't know he's in his 30s. He's just, man's a machine. And I think, again, in a kind of unsettled pack where we've had injuries and we've had players missing, he stood up every single week. I just think it's a no-brainer for me.
He's on my list, and he's on Paul's list as well. So he's in. So we've got Ryan Brierley, Callum Watkins. Give me another nomination.
I've gone with Big King.
King.
Yeah, he didn't start the season brilliantly. I will say that. He was a bit sluggish. But he's developed into the cornerstone of what our pack is. When other players around him were losing form or having their heads turned or doing whatever, he's knuckled down. And in certainly the last 2 months, he's been absolutely phenomenal. He blockbusting runs, his big hits, his tackles. Again, I don't think he was fit. I think he's played himself to fitness. And we had Tyler Dupree, who was. I'm not going to knock the lad. I think he's a great prop forward, but he lost interest before we got Brad Singleton in. We've lost Jack Ormonroyd this year. He's not been the same. We've had no Alex Gerrard. We've struggled up front. We really have, and he's been the one player that's kept going and making meters and being trouble. And I'm delighted he's been rewarded with a new contract. However, I don't have a problem if he doesn't make it, but I had to mention him because, again, he's a player that was cast off by Leeds, not loved, not wanted, and he's come to us. And I love watching him. I love the grin on his face, and the man's massive. So I just thought I'd better mention him just in case I ever bump into him.
Yeah, Paul went with Sam Stone, which, it's a development through the season.
Yeah.
Turned into a cornerstone of our pack. Obviously the heroics from Sunday as well, fresh in everyone's minds. But it's his work rate. He runs hard. He tackles hard. He's just an athlete. A specimen. I've always said with Sam Stone is the biggest in proportion rugby player I've ever seen, and he uses it as well. So he's a fantastic player. I went with Oliver Partington, unsung hero for me. First pivot in the line. I think it's a travesty he's not scored yet for us. Works hard every week. Tackles hard. Good hands as well. I know he doesn't get the headlines he deserves, but I think he could be in. But
I'm gonna just go back one to Stone. I think as the season's gone on, he has got better. He's only young and all. Stone. He's got a long way to go in his career, really. And I think when we lost Shane Wright, I was devastated because Shane Wright, if he'd have carried on, he'd have been on this list, no problem. There wouldn't have even been an argument about that from anyone. We lost Shane Wright, and somebody had to step up with Cal in that back row. And Stone has been, he's been incredible. Another player who knows how to be in the right place at the right time. Does all the work, donkey work, tackling constantly. So yeah, no, I agree with that. Ollie Partington, he started the season like a house on fire. He was running away with my man of the match and everything else at the start of the year, and then he got injured, and that knocked him back. He's come back. He's been great. What a signing! I think it was a great move. As soon as we heard last year we'd sign him, I was delighted. I couldn't believe Wigan were going to let him go. He's got so much about him. He's ball handling for a big guy. He's brilliant. He can play, prop. He can play second row and Luke's forward. His versatility alone is key for us. We've missed him when he's not been there. And again, I would have no problem with him making a list. I think he's a top player. And again, another player that's got years to develop. Years. So yeah, I think he's going to develop into a leader. I think he will be skipper at some point. So yeah, I've got no problem with that.
Okay. We'll put a question mark by him then as well. So who's your other final nomination?
Well, I've got there's two more for me.
Go on then.
But I'm going to go with, I'm going to mention Brody. I've got to put Brody in there. I know he's not been Brody Croft of last year, but as I've said, and I said it again, he's played behind a beaten pack. But when he gets his chance, as Sunday proved, he has been unbelievable. See, the other thing is I follow the man of the match thing every week from the fans, and you won't believe how many times his name comes up. He does things that are magic, that only a magic player does. And just because, I know I'm going to contradict myself here on the Timmy Laffey thing, but just because he's not as good as last year doesn't mean he's not as good. He's a phenomenal player. He's getting his confidence back. And I just think he hasn't been doing that. He's a marked man this year. From player of the year last year, nobody was going to take him lightly. He was going to be watched every time he got the ball, and he's been well marshalled a lot of the time. But when we, again, a bit like Sneedy, when we've played well, Brody Croft has played well, and that's how it's been. And my final one,
go on,
is just can't get on the park enough. Is Chris Atkin.
Yeah.
What a superstar this man is. If he's in any other Super League team, he probably plays in it every week. But his versatility actually, I think, holds him back a bit. Because you want him to play all over the place. Is there a position besides prop he hasn't played? And every time he plays, he's never, ever let us down. Ever. Even going back 2, 3, 4 years, he's just always put his hand up. He doesn't moan. He gets on with it. He tackles twice his weight. He's got skills. I love the man. I think he's one of one of my most favourite players we've ever had. Seriously. I think just because of what he offers, doesn't care where he comes on, what he does. He's going loose forward. All right. If I'm going hooker, fair enough. I'm not bothered. He gets on there. He does his job. And any team in the league would love to have him.
Yeah. Chris Atkin was on Paul's list. So he's on the list. So at the moment we've got Chris Atkin, Callum Watkins, Ryan Briley. Got 2 spaces to fill. We've got 4 players in the running. Your choices were King, Bunny Iowa, or Brodie Croft. So you could pick one. Who's it going to be?
Wow. Now I'm on the spot. Is Paul have nobody different?
Paul had, let's have a look. No, he only did 4. Briley, Croft, Stone, Watkins, Atkin.
What? I'm gonna have to put King in.
King in. Because
of his development and how important he's come to us. I think that's the thing. Without him, we would absolutely no go forward for most of the season. So, and as soon as Tyler Dupree went off the boil a little bit and everything happened, that's when you've seen him stand up and he's become a leader in the pack. Yeah. And I was talking to a guy who travels down from Rochdale to watch us at a match the other day. He's not a Salford lad. He just comes and watches. And we were having this very conversation about King and how he's developed into this. He's integral now. He is. I mean, if he got banned, we've been serious stuff. So, yeah, I think he's got to be in there because of his development. We know what Brodie Croft can do and what he will continue to do for the next 10 years, probably. But to see King Vuniawa go the way he has done and now he's signed a new deal as well, got to be on there for me. Yeah,
so glad you said that, Park. Here, like you say, for me, his journey is what it's all about, isn't it? So, so he's in. Chris Atkin, Callum Watkins, King V, Ryan Briley. I have the choice between Mark Sneed and Oliver Partington. I'm going to go for Sneed.
Yeah.
I'm going Sneed because he's the leader.
Yeah.
The crucial moment against OKR on Saturday, when something needs to happen, they will look to him.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I know it's no fault of his own, really, but Ollie Partington did miss a chunk of the season in many ways. Sneedy's been there every week, and I think he missed 1 game, did he?
Yeah.
And for a half-back who gets targeted in defence, he gets run at constantly. He stands up and does his job. I think you're right. And in big moments, you'd want a Mark Sneed in your team.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that's probably the right decision.
Yeah. So your men's nominations: Ryan Briley, Mark Sneed, King Bunny Iowa, Callum Watkins, Chris Atkin. It's going to be a tough choice. We'll get the poll out, pick your winner, and we'll see who comes out on top. So that's our Player of the Year nominations. Now we'll look forward to the OKR game on Saturday. So Salford Red Devils travels Hull Kingston Rovers with the playoffs in the balance. Going to be a really exciting game. Obviously, hopefully, a lot of Reds will get up there Saturday night. It's not probably the easiest way to get home. I know they've got 3 coaches running. I think they're trying to get another coach going from the Dog. So if it is running, see if you can get on that. more Reds there, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the support again the other night at the home game was brilliant. The lads need it, and they deserve it. They deserve the backing this week. I mean, the game, the importance of this game can't be understated. I don't think the season could rest on this. If Warrington sneak a win against Saints, then we could be in trouble. I don't think they will. So it will carry on. But we've got to win. We've got to do our job and not worry about anybody else. And our record against Rovers has been nothing short of abysmal recently. I know we had the win at Magic, but other than that, we were poor at home against them. We don't seem to get to the level that we normally do against OKR. They don't drag us down because they're a good team. It's not that like when we played Wakefield a couple of times this year, and we've fallen to their levels. We've brought ourselves down. With OKR, it's not that. We just don't get to our higher level. We need that. Their crowd will be on our back. That stand at OKR, we all know what it's about. The referee will get shed loads of abuse, and it's backs against the wall. But that's when we're good. That's what we do. We've been used to. We get that every week. It's us against the world, and this week going up there, it's a long way to travel, but hopefully the lads have got all day to get there. We can take our time. There's no rush. I hate the kick-off time. I'll be honest. I hate the fact it's Saturday night, but that's my problem. But it's going to be nerve-wracking. It really is. I look at OKR's team and I see weaknesses. I do. We've not yet exploited them properly. The cup game could have killed our season. We owe them for that because I honestly believe that our squad had built up to that game. We wanted Wembley this year. The players were targeting it, and we beat OKR 2 weeks before. Then we'd gone to Cass and hammered them, and we were going into that game flying. OKR were missing 5 or 6 key players. They were deflated. They thought they were going to miss out on the playoffs. They were going to go out of the cup. It was all falling apart. And we did get off the bus. We just did not perform that day. And we can't afford that. We've got to start the game big, silence their crowd, give them nothing, and just stay in the game. We know what we're like in an arm wrestle. We saw it on Sunday. We can come out on top. We'll have Ollie Partington and Callum back fresh to the week off. I think Cal was probably carrying a knock, so it might have done us a favour. Yeah, losing Brad Singleton's a huge blow, but Ollie will step up into his role. I would have thought he carry on the same. As we said before, from what Paul Rowley said, the players don't want this to end. And a win on Saturday night, that makes sure that no matter what happens, we've got another game the week after that we're in. The excitement builds. But at that point, you beat Warrington, you beat Rovers away. You're going to be playing a very, very good Catalan team. But you're at home, you need that win. It just makes this season right, this game. And it couldn't, to be honest, I said before, it's a shame we haven't got Wakefield or Cass or whatever. When you look at it this way, the excitement now, this is do or die. There's something on this for both teams still. This is massive. And I hope this is the one where we pay them back for the pain they've given us recently. Yeah,
it's all or nothing. And this is. That's what playoff rugby is. And, we talked about the Challenge Cup game and not turning up. That hurt the players. You could tell. Obviously, we went on a bit of a bad run after that, didn't we? And they found the feet again. OKR had a good side. Jordan Abdul's back. They've won 3 on the spin. They're quite good, prolific at home. But it's playoff rugby league. And this is what, like we said, we've said numerous times in this podcast, this is what it's all about.
Yeah.
And if you're not up for this, and if you're not wanting to be the best you can be in a game like this, then you're doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that the players, will want to do what beat Hull Kingston after what they put us through in the cup. It's going to be really tough, like you say, with the crowd and that, and then the kick-off time and everything. But it's all about rising above that like you said, could be playing someone like Wakefield or someone who hasn't got anything. But I'd rather be in a game with somebody who has something in it, a skin in the game, because that will rise. Our team will rise to that challenge. So I'm excited about it. Paul Rowley's talking about this week we're in a mini lockdown because there's a bit of a flu thing going through the camp. Don't know whether that's mind games or not, Parker, ahead of the game, but it's another sort of aspects of this week that that builds it up.
Yeah, I've got to hope it isn't. I've got to hope it is a bit of kidology, if you like. But you never know, do you? I mean, Rolls, he's quite a master at this sort of stuff as well. So fingers crossed. But I mean, what we can't afford is the mistakes that we made on Sunday, because Jordan Abdul will be smashing that ball into the floodlights. And Joey Burgess and Kenny Co. I'm not having a go, but you can't make mistakes like that this week. It can't happen. You give them a sniff, they get in a roll, we could be in big trouble. But the players will know this, and like you say, we're in it. We're in it. This is why we're in the game. This is why these players want to play. This is where they want to be. They don't want to be a Hull FC or nothing to play for, nothing going on. This is the whole thing. And if we want to be making the grand final, and we want to be in these big games, these are the games we've got to go and win now.
Yeah.
If we don't beat Hull Kingston Rovers away, what gives us any confidence, even if we did make the top 6, that we could travel to Catalan, Wigan, or Saints away in the playoff and beat them? That's where the only thing is, I'm almost sure the club don't want to play Catalan away, because financially that could ruin us. That would cost a fortune in a playoff game. You don't want that. So it depends where you finish in the league as well, doesn't it? But we've proved it before when we went to Wigan, in 2019, that on a big night you can still do it. We've pushed Saints all the way a few times recently. We shouldn't be scared of anything, but these are the games now. This is where it matters, and we've worked all year for this. And just hope that the players get off that bus on Friday night ready, fired up, and just give the best shot. If they do get beat, if they do lose, don't go out with a whimper. Give them out and make sure that they know they've been in the game.
Yeah. Prediction time. Parky, what's your thoughts?
Well, I said last week, and I wasn't on, but I said I fancied us. I phoned you, didn't I? And I said, I left you that message, and I said, I think, I don't know what it is. I think everything going into it, everything against us, the players being suspended and everything else. But I've got a sneaky feeling. And I've got that feeling again this week. I've got that buzz. And I don't know if it's just the euphoria of Sunday not wearing off yet, or drugs from my eye being started being done yesterday. I don't know. But I'm going to go for a tight one. I'm going to go for an 18-16 win.
18-16 win?
Yeah.
For Salford?
Yeah.
I normally go out for big blowout scorelines, don't I? But I think this week is a test of our playoff credentials, and you don't need to go and put 40 points on to get your credentials tested. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tight. We know that. The players know that. OKR know that. That's what playoff rugby is. So I'm thinking we'll come out on top 14 points to 10.
That seems quite reasonable to me. I don't know if there'll be too many tries, and I think the nerves will play a part. Both defenses will have to be fired up and ready. So yeah, I think you might be right, and we've got capacity to score points. We know that.
Yeah,
and so have they. I think the problem is with the two teams. I think we're quite similar. I think we play in a similar style. I think that clash probably this year so far has gone their way. But like at Magic, when we started to cut loose, we did look magic. Scored some great tries that day, didn't we? So who knows? But like I say, it's just great to be involved. We could have lost last week and been out of this. and missing out on the end of season party, if you like. We're not. We're still in it. And for a club like us at the moment, we couldn't ask for more. So just go out there and give it your best. And I hope the fans really get behind us. It'll be difficult with their fans as well because they'll make some noise. But just let the players know you're there. And if anyone's not booked on any of the coaches and you're thinking, I don't know, do it. Do it. I can't be there. That's what hurts me. I can't be there. It'd be difficult with one eye, I think, even worse than usual. But that will hurt me. So I need somebody there to take my place, to shout twice as loud. And that's what I'm hoping for. So, yeah, please, if you know anyone, any of your mates, grab them, tell them to go. Get there, get behind the lads. They deserve it. It's been an up and down season. It's been tough. But you look where the club's come from and where it's going, and they just need that extra push now. So yeah, if you can, please just go for me.
Yeah, we've had a great show, fantastic, chat. 2 hours 10 minutes. You probably get to all listening to this. Then I'm back maybe, but it's been a great show. Really enjoyed it, Parker. Great going through the Player of the Year nominations. Obviously celebrating the win against Warrington last week, and yeah, big thanks to our listeners for tuning in, helping us through, with a Ko-fi, helping us fund, the different programs that we use to produce this podcast. I can't thank you enough, and I'm sure you're the same, Parker.
Oh, without a doubt. And listen, I know it's a long one and a waffle on and everything else, but you could be a club that has nothing to talk about. So, got to count your blessings a little bit there, I think. But yeah, no, I mean, we say it every week. Thank everyone for listening. You don't have to give your time up, but you do, and you contribute to us, and not just in with the Ko-fi and that kind of thing, but actually just, when you do your man of the match things and all that kind of thing, just. It's nice to know that you're out there and you're listening. And, like I said, yeah, Rob said we can't thank you enough.
Yeah. So big thanks for joining us on this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Paxson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. Good luck, Reds. We'll see you on the other side.